Well. So welcome to a special edition of Raise Your Sporks. Today, we're going to hang out with one of our sponsors for ETHDenver 2023. They are sponsoring the infrastructure and scalability track. Their name is Circle, and they are pretty awesome. So today is a special Raise Your Sporks. It's an extension to what we normally do on Fridays, which last Friday we were joined by Game 7, where we talked about the NFT gaming and metaverse track. And today we're continuing to actually dive into what does success look like? What does the world of infrastructure and scalability look like from the perspective of our sponsors? What does success look like? And what can you as a bidler do to start preparing to biddle your project on the infrastructure and scalability track? So I'm going to be joined by my guests today from Circle, where we're actually going to dive into these things. And so I'm going to ask them to join me right now, and we'll go from there. So let me get these people into my, world here. Here we go. There's one. We got Mariah. Got Sam, Marcos, and then Sam. Here we go. Welcome. Oh, look at this. We got 7 people.
There we go.
Here we didn't think anyone would join us. So this is fun. So welcome. So I was just kind of explaining to everyone that's watching that today we're going to talk about infrastructure and scalability, which is one of 5 different tracks that are a part of ETHDenver's Biddle-a-thon this year. And so this is the Circle team. They are our sponsor for that track. And welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be. I know Mariah's on the East Coast, and we got Europe, and then actually, Sam,
back
I don't
on the
know.
East. I'm back on the East.
You're on the East too? Okay.
East. Yeah.
There we go. Cool. Well, welcome. So what I'd like to do is just kind of go through and talk about like why you guys are sponsoring ETHDenver, and specifically like the infrastructure and scalability track, why you guys chose to sponsor this specific track, and then talk a little bit about like what's going on and what you guys see in the market. So a lot of our bidlers might be looking for a reason to biddle in the infrastructure and scalability. And this is just kind of a way for you guys to like shed some light on like what are the things that we need to be biddling, so that way we can actually live in a decentralized future.
Yeah, I can go ahead and touch on why we're sponsoring the track. So for Circle, we really see ourselves as the building blocks for the Ethereum community. So we believe that being the main sponsor for the infrastructure and scalability track, 40 by 40 foot booth, we really believe that this will be the best way to showcase all the tools we offer to developers, builders, founders, business leaders. So specifically within our booth, our plan is just to provide all attendees with more information about USDC, our stablecoin, our APIs, and our Web3 SDKs. We'll also be hosting some drop-in demos and showing our sample app inside of our sandbox. So all of these, we truly believe, are key infrastructural pieces that can help anyone building a project on Ethereum.
That's awesome. And so are you guys like with the space, is there, like you said, you're going to do individual demos? So you're going to have like a little stage where you guys are actually going through it, or is it like a stand and watch a display?
Yeah, so we'll have 3 demo areas. Smaller, it'll be stand and watch. And then we also have a genius bar. That's what we're calling it, where attendees can come up and chat with someone from our developer team. So it'll be sort of like our reception desk concept, but instead you're coming to talk to a developer, an engineer, someone on the product team. So we'll have those aspects. We'll have some high top tables just for additional meetings that need to happen. And of course, we'll be handing out lots of merch.
I think I might have to go find my Genius Bar shirt somewhere in my closet and bring it.
You might have to. No, yeah, we're extremely excited for this opportunity. I think that what Circle allows is, and what we believe in, is the full entire spectrum. For years, I've been in the space for a long time, and for years, a lot of what we've been able to build has been more conceptual. But over the last couple of years, especially with the trust and reliability, transparency of USDC, we've really seen the merger between the digital and the physical world. We've seen businesses go from local to global. We were like just out in Mexico City where we're able to see someone from Miami who was able to create an app that can literally stretch and beyond and create a financial infrastructure where people can send money and receive it and use it in 3 different countries. Now, several years ago, that would have been a huge feat, financial feat, resource feat to do. But with this technology, you're able to leverage that. So when you come to our booth, you're going to be able to see the full spectrum. You're going to be able to see our tools and what you can do conceptually, right? And understand the coding. But then we're also going to show you what, several founders are doing right now. So you'll be able to see, go from the beginning of the story to the end of the story and start to be able to figure out on your own how you yourself can leverage, the things you're going to learn through our demos and participation in our bounties and take that to the next scale.
That's exciting. I think coming from like a prior, I was involved in like the special purpose depository institution, which was like this thing that Colorado was doing to bring federal rails to banking. So it's always fun to hear and see like the progression of where we were to where we are today. And I think it's really fun to also learn about the different types of technologies that people are creating using Circle's technology to actually advance things. So like, I know there's a lot of people specifically within like the ETHDenver community that have been involved with like federal regulation, getting into actually building different types of systems for banking. And I know a lot of them actually use Circle. So I think it'll be kind of fun for a lot of people, especially bidlers that are like new to the space. And they're like, how can I use Circle to actually help my business or my idea? So it's always fun to have kind of payment rails involved, because that's really, in my opinion, it's one of those things that we really have to solve because money runs the world. And until we have really good infrastructure for the financial stuff, we're kind of in trouble.
So one thing that is really interesting about this is I was on this this event in Mexico City with Sam as well, but the week before, so I'm based in the UK, but the weeks before I was also in South America. So I grew up in South America, so I was like visiting family. And one thing that was really interesting for me was it seems like the governments in South America, they're talking about just kind of like merging their financial systems, as in like, almost like what we have in Europe, like with the euro. They want to come up with like this one currency that kind of like runs in the whole of South America. But what was really interesting for me is that when the governments are talking about this, they were saying this is going to take years, if not decades, to do. So for me, it was really cool to kind of like go to Mexico City and just see that there's someone building this, and they're talking about months. They're not talking about years. They're not talking about decades. They're talking about just being able to build the same thing in a decentralized manner in months. And that for me is like, it kind of like just shows the real potential of all this.
ETHDenver, this is year 6, and you kind of go backwards, and there's different sponsors now that are presenting sponsors that didn't exist 6 years ago, and that have made a significant impact on the industry. And they started at the Bidathon. And so it's like, that's really what you guys as sponsors are allowing all the bidlers to do, is go, here's the core part of what we've built. Now use what we have to actually build something even bigger and something that's actually going to have impact. So there will be someone that is bidding using your tech this year during the Bidathon that will come 6 years down the line. That's going to be solving the problem that you guys were just talking about in Guatemala, or even in Latin America, or I even think about other countries like Kenya and Nigeria and places like that have these issues. Yeah. So it's fun. So what what are some things, Marco, that you guys are working on to kind of develop or improve the infrastructure and scalability?
Yeah, so here's what we aim to do. We want to be this one-stop shop for everything from Web3 to blockchains to everything to do with this kind of world. So we offer like on and off ramp from fiat to stable coins. We store and transact with obviously a lot of like digital assets securely. You can accept crypto and fiat payments as well with our APIs, and we offer those like really nicely crafted SDKs that abstract a lot of the work that you would need to do. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not here to try and say Circle solves this problem in a way that no one else could, because it's the beauty of these worlds. Like there's a lot of options, there's a lot of ways you can do things. But what we try to do is like we try and look from the developer lenses and how hard certain things are. Okay, so like if you want to leverage something like verified identity credentials, for example, it's a hard problem to solve. But we have a product that is called Verity, and it does it for you, and it has an SDK, and it also has APIs that you can use. So like if right now we have SDKs in JavaScript, Java, and Python. So like if you're if neither of these are your flavor, we have APIs that you can use as well. We work very hard on our docs as well to make sure that people have what they need. Okay, because for me, like the most important thing is I want to make sure that people come to look at our product, they have a good time, and they can move forward. Okay, so we offer a sandbox where people can go sign up. You can like sign up for a sandbox account right now if you want. And the idea with it is like you are transacting on testnet, so everything is safe, everything is secure. You're not going to be transacting any of your real money. And obviously when you become, when you're ready to go, when you're ready to go live, then we kind of like help you move to a production account. So obviously that's when you're going to do your KYBs, KYCs, and everything to make sure that we're all kind of like aligned. But it's a smooth process, okay, to get started. And this is exactly what we aim to do. Like we want to make sure that people can just get started with this very easily. And our SDKs are great on that front.
Awesome. I think so like you were talking about sandboxes, is it are those just open to everyone? So can someone go right now to like Circle and request a sandbox, or is it something that they have to wait to come to ETHDenver for?
No, you can create a sandbox account and you can start using right now. You get an API key from your sandbox account. You generate it yourself. Okay, so there's not even like for sandboxes. There's no there's going to be some approval process, but like most people will be able to go straight to like just using the sandbox.
Okay.
Obviously, depending on like where your IP is from or something, like if you're using a proxy or something. But most people will just be able to use a sandbox, generate an API key, and start using. From the docs, you will be able to use the API as well. So like even if you don't want to write any code and you want to go to the docs, like our docs are built in a way. So we use Open API. So our docs are built in a way that if you want to make requests using your API key, you can do as well from the docs without writing a single line of code.
That's great. That's fun. It's great that you can do this ahead of time. Like I remember a couple years ago, people had to wait until they came to ETHDenver to get sandboxes. So the fact that you have it open, it's a big win for bidlers. So they can actually start looking and becoming familiar with it. Obviously, they don't know the bounties yet. They won't know the bounties until the 20th. But
That's right.
it will at least they can start looking at it and going. So that's fun. Cool. I think there's a lot of like I don't know, there's like little things in there that I'm interested in, but I think for the sake of time, I'm gonna have to come to your booth and just go to the Genius Bar and ask about them. So I'm very much interested in the financial stuff. So this is fun. So we now have an idea from you guys, and like, what does the infrastructure look like? What are things that bidlers need to be thinking about? Why you guys are passionate about being the sponsor for the track? What are some like use cases? So one of the things that we like to think about at ETHDenver is like, what are actual use cases that we can solve? And at the same time, we're 100% about people just freely coming And, Derek talked about it last week, or it's a common thing that we talk about is someone was like, I just want to create a button where when you click on it, confetti shoots out, and all of a sudden that now you're earning NFTs. And we're like, that sounds awesome. And it's really cool, but like, where does we also want to like focus on solving we talked about KYC or knowing your business or getting federal rails. And there's people working on them, but like, do you guys have some examples of projects within the Circle infrastructure where you guys can go like, these are examples of projects that we really like, that we like to promote or talk about, or could point someone to, not necessarily like this has to be go build this, but this is like, look at this. This is like a really solid project that we're stoked on, and look at it. Maybe you guys can build something like this, but in a different segment.
Wow. I think one of the cool things about our community is that we've got a lot to pull from. I mentioned one earlier, but another one that pops up in my head is a company called Felix Pago. And what they're doing is, it's open. They're not even dealing directly with the Circle account. It's all interacting with our smart contracts, which anybody can do now, which is incredible. And so what they're doing is you can actually, through WhatsApp, everybody uses WhatsApp, right? Internationally. Through WhatsApp, you're able to interact with our smart contract, get USDC, and then transfer it to anybody. And I think that's incredible. There was actually another company that I saw in South Africa that through WhatsApp was utilizing USDC and even connecting for payments. And so you could not only send it to your peers, but then you can also use it to pay bills all through WhatsApp using, and I think that's incredible. I've seen USDC leverage in, not smartphones, but, I guess you would call the roommate phones. So they're just like Nokia types, press 1, press 2, press 3, and you're able to send USDC to your peers with low or very or close to no strong internet at all. So there's a lot. And then of course, there are the fun stuff, being used in gaming payments, which is great. But the ones that I'm talking about are some really, impactful use cases when you talk about being able to send money and without a smartphone, without having to have any sort of huge processing system, just simply using what's out there, really shows the flexibility and ingenuity of our community.
Got it. So with that, do you guys have just a public page or something that exists where you guys can demonstrate all the different things that are going on, or show, maybe even guys have ideas of use cases that Biddlers could solve or that you think need to be solved, so we can actually get into a decentralized future?
Yeah, we have our ecosystem catalog. So if you go to ecosystem.circle.com, so again, ecosystem.circle.com, you will be able to see a lot of those use cases. So those are real companies who built things with Circle, either in hackathons or entrepreneurs who just built things with Circle. We have all different categories in there, so you can see banking, borrowing, CFI, charity, DeFi, e-commerce. So there's a bunch of different categories, and there's gonna be a bunch of really good ideas in here. I think for our bounties, I'll be honest and say I'm open to anything. Okay, obviously if there's any of these categories here, then fine. If it's a category that is not here, and then perhaps it should be here, then more than happy to also accept this. But if you're just looking for ideas, then yes, ecosystem.circle.com is a good place to just go and explore and see what people are doing with our ecosystem right now and USDC.
That's fun. I wish I knew this very fancy production software that we use, because I know there's overlays, but I can't figure out how to do them. Because I was gonna have it pop up and say ecosystem.circle.com. but I apparently am not good enough at this. So, but we'll get it added in post. So,
There you
okay.
go.
Cool. So, are there, obviously infrastructure kind of deals with, it's not just finance. You guys also, I know Sam talked a little bit about gaming as like an example. I think you got payroll. There's are there other like specific segments within infrastructure that you can think that like these are things that we need to solve? Like,
so I think there's people building a lot around wallets. I think Sam and I, we had this conversation the other day. Like, it seems like everyone is building a wallet right now in a way or another. Like, there's a lot of people building wallets, but there's a lot of like really cool stuff going on with the way people build wallets right now. So we see that a lot. We see people building like on the NFT marketplace as well. I feel like that is such an unexplored space. Okay, like, you know, an NFT marketplaces and you know, like accepting payments and just doing it in a way that has less friction. Like, I want to be able to go and buy an NFT or like whatever it is. Okay, like, you know, like whatever it is that I'm buying, but I want to be able to perhaps do that using like my own credit cards. You know, not necessarily going from a place to another, buying Ethereum and then buying USDC or buying USDC and then paying with that. I just want to be able to kind of like transact with my own credit cards and eventually I feel like when we talk about credit cards, like USDC or like stable coins is going to be an option for this. But like right now, it feels like there's this gap where you should just be able to go and buy with like whatever cash that you have in your pocket, okay, or like, you know, whatever cash that you have in your credit cards. So that is a space that I would like to see people kind of like moving towards.
Yeah, I mean, I like one of the things that I like to see is, you know, I think that making the ease and interoperability. And so, you know, one of the docs that we just released is our cross-chain transfer protocol, which is an open protocol. The docs were just released maybe about a week or two ago. But, you know, those are one of the things where, you know, you can look into, okay, you know, being able to, you know, create these sort of, open use cases where, okay, if I have, you know, Solana USDC and I want to go into an Ethereum marketplace, that I don't have to think about, you know, what I'm doing. I can just simply send my Ethereum, it transfers over, and I can make my purchase, and everything's handled on the back end. And so I think just increase in interoperability. I think from, you know, users, you know, the average user out there, you know what I mean? It's like if I want to go to a marketplace, I don't want to have to think about changing. So I like to see that. I like to see that get smoothed out. You know, we talked about identity. You know, and I think what, you know, a lot of these things are like, okay, they're simple solutions, but they're complicated. And how do you make it easy, right? Because I think that, you know, when we look at the most successful Web2 companies, they didn't do things that were mind-blowing, but what was mind-blowing was how easy they were able to make it happen. And so if you have something like, you know, you talked about identity and, you know, okay, how do you tie that into a purchase? How do you tie that into being authorized to access an event, right? I think that the builders that are able to understand how to take the technology and make it so hidden that it makes it seamless are the ones that will end up changing the world. So I like to see that. And then even on the NFT side, I like to see even just beyond, you know, even like marketplaces, but, you know, really getting down to the definition of NFTs, non-fungible, you know, like it, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like not just art, but, you know, get down to like exactly what NFTs are. And so let's start looking at other use cases. You know, music. I love to see, you know, music and streaming being able to done where artists are able to easily, you know, collect royalties. So I think there's a lot of different markets that I love to see innovation on, and I'm happy that, you know, we work somewhere where we have the infrastructural tools that can help with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think there's so many different things in there. Like one,
I rolled it out, man.
You did, and I think so. Like those are like great examples of like if you're a bidler and you're coming to participate in the bidathon, like just going and listening to the last like 4 minutes between Marcos and Sam. Like these are actual real use cases of things that they see that we need to solve. And in that, it's like there are things that I know, like there's things like when you get into like accounting and when you're dealing with like Ethereum and the 18 digits, like are the way that our accounting systems are based off of the 4-digit decimal, whereas Ethereum needs 18. So like I know there's like accounting issues that has to be solved. And then you get into like music and NFTs and all that stuff. And I know that I think you guys do stuff with Warner. And I think that's what I've heard from some people in the music industry. But so there's lots of use cases, lots of opportunities for people to biddle. And I think it's going to be really fun. And so, you know, I think we're 19 days away from ETHDenver, maybe actually less than that. Because it was 21 on Friday. So that would be 20. 18 days, maybe?
18 days.
18 days.
Yeah, 18
so
days.
18 days away. Oof. But that'll be fun. I'm gonna be hanging out in your booth. I already know it.
Come by. I can't wait to meet you. We'll be all there. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, lots of fun.
But yeah, so we look forward to having you guys. Thank you guys so much for like your support already, for being there for the bidlers. Make sure if you are coming to biddle, make sure you go check out the Circle booth. They will have a genius bar. I mean, not often that you can go talk to a genius. So, but it'll be fun.
Marco's in the flesh.
In the flesh. And then if you guys are like interested in knowing what are the bounties because I'm getting text messages. Those are crazy. It's 10 a.m. in the morning where I am. So I guess it's 9 in Denver, and then we got other hours. Anyways, if you are looking for specific bounties, those are not yet announced. Those get announced on February 20th. Where all the different sponsors that are participating in the bidathon, you'll be able to read and listen about what bounties will be available to you. And then come February 24th at around 10 a.m., that's when the bidathon actually begins. And so you kind of have a couple of days to actually read and to dissolve everything that is there, because there are a lot of bounties. There's a lot of bounties, but there's a lot of money available. So that way, when you're working on things, and some of them will be from Circle. So with that, thank you guys so much for doing this. This is actually fun. Like, this is a great way to start my day, is doing these. Maybe I should do them more often.
Yeah, change the time. You should change the time.
Maybe I should change the time.
Maybe
I should just start a whole nother like Raise Your Sporks special edition. And
there you go.
You know, maybe Fridays is more of I don't know. We'll see. But this is fun. I like this. This is great. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Mariah. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Marcos. How can people prepare? Like, obviously there's circle.com. There's ecosystems at Circle. What are the other ways that, like, if someone wants to go right now, I know that I want to do something in Circle, where can they go to start like reading and like get connected with you guys? Do you guys have like Discord, Twitter?
Yes. Yeah. Great question. And we almost forgot to mention Discord. It's all the excitement. So there's a couple of places you can go to. If for out of everything that I say, if you can only remember one URL, go to circle.com/developers. This is our kind of like developer resource. So there's going to be everything from like a developer's perspective. In that page, you'll find how to create a sandbox account, which again, it's very easy, but you'll find how to do it. There's going to be links in there. There's going to be a link to our Discord, so you can join our community. And there's going to be links to our docs as well. So developers.circle.com is our docs page. So it's basically kind of like the other way. Circle.com/developers is our developers page. Our docs, developers.circle.com. They're all kind of like interlinked, okay? So you won't get lost. Yes, if you want to get started, then I suggest go look in our docs, choose your flavor. Like, we have a bunch of different products, okay? So we have things like, programmable payments, we have treasury management, we have obviously Web3 services, and we have liquidity as well. we have, obviously, that we have USDC. If you're in Europe, we have Eurocoin. So if you want to build with Eurocoin, it's kind of like the same vibe, but you can build with euros. And our docs will have guides. Like out of those guides, you'll be able to basically just go and get yourself started. We have sample apps as well that you can download. So if you're not feeling like just writing all that code or using ChatGPT to go and generate your code, we actually have we actually have a a sample app that you can use. We have some Postman resources as well. So like, if you just want to see how it works, you can download our Postman project and you will be able to call our APIs, but also you'll be able to call the APIs from the doc. So it's like, yes, get started today. We kind of like, we got you there. We got you covered. And if you have any questions, if you want to talk to me, Sam, Mariah, anyone from Circle, come join our Discord.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I think the fact that you said ChatGPT it's like the new Google.
It's
like,
a new, it's
the
crazy,
new Google.
right?
It is,
like
yeah.
Google's done. It's now all ChatGPT. So
Yeah, because it used to be like I used to go to Stack Overflow and like try and find someone who was looking for the exact same thing as I was looking for, so I could copy and paste. Now I can just ask ChatGPT to generate exactly what I want. So it doesn't get much better.
It was
than
actually
this.
kind of funny. I hadn't considered it, but one of the conversations that we had on Friday was that someone goes, well, if I want to form a team, like what's a team? And I was like, well, minimum of 2 people and a maximum of 4. And they're like, well, where does ChatGPT fall in? And I'm like, well, it's not a human. It's kind of like a human. So consider it like an extra bonus person. Whereas like you have to have a physical human. They have to physically be there to participate. So people are already thinking like that. So it's going to be really interesting with interesting Bidathon this year. So ChatGPT. Look at that. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out this morning.
Yes.
Thanks for making my morning. This is great.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
And thanks to everybody that was hanging out with us too.
I know. There's
Can't see you, but thank you
over
so much.
over 100 people participated today. This is wild.
We love you too. We love you too. Thanks for hanging out this morning.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you. And I'm just gonna go from here. And well, thank you guys so much for hanging out. This is gonna be it. Maybe I'm gonna do another one of these. I'm gonna invite some more sponsors. This actually was kind of fun. So with that, let's end with this. We gotta figure this. Here we go.